All right, so we're looking at the sourcing here on some of these philosophers. I know some of us, it might be difficult to find a lot just on two websites, and as a rule of thumb, we should try to find as many sources as possible. That means we're getting the full story, or as close as we can to the full story. So this document is going to be for all your sources, but there is one big outlier that we got to identify here, is that in this document, we're also putting your source corroborations, which I'm going to guide you with right now in this video. Corroboration, real quick, means it's basically confirming what someone else is saying. So if two sources say the same things or similar things, they corroborate or they confirm each other. All right. So in this document, you're putting your source corroborations as well as any sources that we already trust, such as .org, .edu, .gov, .ac, depending on the country that it's in. All right. So let's get started on this. So an example for finding sources outside of these trusted ones, we're going to use my example of David Hume again. All right, so I searched David Hume. We've got the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy and Wikipedia, but I'm scrolling down. A lot of these ones are fine. Britannica is an encyclopedia, so trustworthy.edu. All of these are great sources. We don't need to corroborate these with other ones. They already have had the kind of process that confirms the information is accurate. I don't mind if you use videos, just make sure, again, you're following the process of whatever you're finding from the videos. Even if it's on YouTube, just make sure you're finding it somewhere else as well. We need two sources to confirm it. So scrolling down, I'm looking for a .com source. So here's the first one I'm finding here. Who was David Hume? I have it opened up here. All right. So I was reading through this article and was just looking for something that really stuck out to me that I didn't maybe know about David Hume. So I got to this third paragraph right here, where it says, James Boswell called him the greatest writer in Britain. And this was back in 1762. All right. So that was very interesting to me. So I want to make sure that more than just one person thinks that this is true before I go about quoting this in my paper. So I Google searched Hume, greatest writer in England, and I want to find more people to talk about this. So we got the humesociety.org. .org, most important philosopher to ever write in English. That's a pretty strong quote. It's also from a .org, so that'd be a fantastic second source to corroborate or confirm what's being said. I would say that it's Hume Society would suggest that maybe they're biased towards Hume. Regardless, still a very good source. I wanted to kind of challenge this though, so I kept going down and kind of, we're not always going to find a .org to back up everything we're saying. So I wanted to give you another example. So I went down to this one here, New York Times, an opinion piece. They've got to fact check this, but you can see it right here. David Hume, the most important philosopher to ever write in English. Went to this one, found that same quote. Today is his 300th birthday. The most important philosopher to ever write in English. And look at this, according to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, which is one of our most trusted sources on this project that we talked about. So what I've done is I put the piece of information that I found and I want to use. So here's the piece right here, according to James Boswell. David Hume was the greatest writer in Britain. Very interesting. Really wanted to use this. So the website that I originally found it on, I'm putting the URL there. I'm going to come back to this later and use this as a citation or a reference. But for now, I just want to keep track of it. And then the second website that I found that corroborates this information and pasted it right there. All right. So every time you find a piece of information like that, I want you to make a new set of these. Okay. So just these 3 lines. It's not that much work. You're just doing your due diligence, making sure that the information you're finding is in fact accurate. All right. So I would encourage you to try to do this as much as possible because you're going to find more interesting things about your character and you're going to find out whether it's true or not. Talk to me or email me if you're having trouble finding something on multiple websites and it's really, really interesting. So there's a way that maybe we can mention in the paper that some sources say blah, 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 but it's hard to confirm this. And you can just come out and say it, but that way you can still get that interesting fact in your paper. All right. So, and then of course, all your regular sources, your .edus, .govs, .orgs are going to go in here as well. And then when we get towards the end of the project, we'll get our bibliography worked out. All right. So hopefully this is a good way to help you open up your research ability onto the internet. Even if you're just searching just your person's name, right? You can find a lot of information. This is going to take a little bit of reading, obviously, but we've got time. We've got time to read now, so that shouldn't be too much of a concern. Make sure you're searching for more than just answers to the questions, right? You're looking for information. You need to be this character. So it's going to take a little bit of reading, a little bit of research. You're not going to find the answer immediately. This is why we're taking our time on this project, and it's going to take us several days. So this isn't something that's going to be done in just a day or a couple of days. This is going to take a while, and it's meant to be on like that on purpose. That way you really know what person you're studying and that you can really embody this person to the best of your ability. All right. So I want you to interact with as many sources as possible. And you're going to find some cool things like this. I found this David Hume thing within 3 or 4 minutes. So imagine how much the more time you spend, the better information you're going to find. All right. So as always, if you need help with anything, especially with finding more sources, reach out to me. Some of you have, and I've been able to kind of help you out with that. Email me. That's the preferred method, like I mentioned in the 10th episode video, or you could always comment on the video or on Classroom. But again, the most direct route would be email. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you again soon.